있는데 술라 게임 몰라 콜라
누가 때
I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, pure bias, attachment, and anger. This ground anointed by this ground anointed this ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by 4 continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land.
ya da Roma tes no kanda da de Roma chis to tare te to ne de ngol gom ja kujra tare to chi gom.
Good morning. Thank you very much for coming and join me again in this cyber discussion. And we apologize because of the technical failure and due to the storm, and we got delayed in this morning. Luckily, we were able to fix the problem. So now let's begin our today's practice. We're going to recite in the Shri Arya Tara's heart mantra, and then like we did before, and then while we are reciting the mantra, and after the first verse, and then we're going to recite the heart mantra and in the silence meditation.
Dare du dare dare so Om 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 dare du dare dare so
dare do dare do so. Dare do dare do so dare do do simchen na pa chen ni pa ni da na li ta chi do yi na na ma to da so so yo ati ni ta zen ro ma ati sala ko per so so ne da ka de ma long gora gong shu chi song de cher thwa chen bo ri jin ji gang zo la oma ji pa le song wa tar sham ba ta nyang ji thong ta war sim to ka chi la de to sem chen la de ni ki de sem chen de wi phong wa nam la mu ni sham ba ta dengel ki me cho phong wa ta o ze wi sem chen na la mu ni nyang sewa nyang ji chen bo ki de 존직리스 상승 담바 초파드강 대형 섬지 치와닐 시송 어떠발도로구나.
Okay. You have your copy of the translation, and please go to page 52. I'm going to read right below the. It says meditation on the great kindness of all beings. Chandrakirti states in his supply to Nagarjuna's treatise on the middle way that in general, for a person to belong to the lineage of the great vehicle, love and compassion are vitally important at the beginning, middle, and the end of his or her practice. Both are developed in dependence on sentient beings. Love, by focusing on the fact that sentient beings are bereft of happiness, and sympathetic great compassion by focusing on the fact that sentient beings are afflicted by sufferings like a raging bonfire. The guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says that we make offerings to whoever has a mind of love also reflects the value of sentient beings.
Oh, yeah, that day, also Tapa Chembo, Tapa Chembo, Tapa Chong, Chapter the Garzana, Jen Zor the Bashembo, Jen Zor the Beroni, Zom the Jen Zor the Bachela, Tapa Chembo in it, Tapa Chembo in the Samba Chembos. Sem Jachimbo was around the Gente or Simcham Chilamunda, Sem Jachimbo in that Watchimbo in the Watchimbo, even so to Yella Sosu Tashitam Yomato, Jenchika Sichika to Watchimbo Retamarzi, Tachuchitoyo, Sosorani Granilla, Nizichigo, Sosu Tadamado Jangat, Tawachimbo Chijangura. That Watchimbo in the Kadas, the Bores, so to Watchimbo said, Jimmy, Shambat and Yanjini, the Totawars, the Chimbokachimbo raised. Monjipane. 다 샴바동 양지 토마 통타와서 같이 보래 이제 제주때 가도 집당 주든디 감드나 뭐 처음에 샴당 양지니 처음에 셰고 샴당 양지 셰고다 샴당 양지 오늘 간다지래 이제 지난미 가시기 또도 시고 맞다 어때 야오지 레삼도 샴바드나 가서 양지 생각했을 때 파데시 잡구나 돈도 하마고 때 차당아도 띠 돈도 하고 왔지네 오 샴당 양지나 레지자 조건이 돈도 하고 돈도 하고네 Tito Leon Samlutung, Tiwa Sambachi, Tito Derisco, Shamyang, the Rishing, this is the carpent on the kitchen, Tiam de Reperga, Cherokee Totan Gini, Samlu Tangana. It's something also the parts and not Toronto, you know, the Shamba and Lamson Torate. This is the Deodam Dana, some Samuchi, but young Jesus and a simple Dingadam Dana and some Bati, some Lamson Sharon, the Sharsumada, 这样子一个什么光景的什么上路灯的，什么是电话灯咱们就是上班这个什么时候数据了，什么是电话灯的呢？什么上路就有呢？这样子的把什么的了事情的怕，你呢？的马样啊，真的上路灯，这真的上班工作，样子工作呢，样子什么他们就等个当真啊，什么他们这个等个里面把等个这里真啊，什么上路就什么说说，这了样子时候，他们说说就了这个么都什么的，所以就了这个什么有呢？这什么就让我马上了是的，真把当西京个什么个，这了你头外了，样子工作了，但这里真的什么样子工当真，这里就工头外了，说说让你个主要的情用头外用过了是。当不提话，体育都上路，上北都的说了真，我们别提话去了。你说说让你个了，我们只能俺们了的，不这个3원的，相当于这个3원的俺们了有的，这俺们吃那个谁嘛都真的，这几头个嘛，这这个这些个谁他们别的个那什么做那儿别过了，基本上等你上级是呢，上级没去把这重就对了，相当像是上是什么的，这人被公布的中的写的几的，短期中的我们都用都上一起送。这种俺们了第3원都有了，这送了是上路当局去上面。
We are here focusing on the teaching, the core teachings of Mahayana or great vehicle. So what is the great vehicle and what the Mahayana is all about? Here, the Mahayana, Maha is great, Yana is a path. So great vehicle or great path. What makes the Mahayana is special? Consider this particular path, a particular tradition and practices being sort of consider as something that's great, and obviously that so there's something that's small or lesser. So therefore, refer to the consideration of others, or by focusing on others, or take others as the most important based upon the needs or the benefits of others. So that very attitude is this path called great or Mahayana or great vehicle. So we are studying and practice Mahayana, but whether we are Mahayanist, we are the followers of Mahayanist or the true seekers of or devotees of this very tradition or not, then we have to ask this question ourselves. We have to examine our own very basic attitude, because you are the only one who can tell whether you do have this attitude, meaning that your mind or your essential attitude is focus on others or benefits for others. So if you do have such attitude and do the things according to this basic attitude, then you are the Mahayanist. You are the followers of or devotees of the great vehicle tradition. So you are the only one. Nobody else can tell whether you are Mahayanist or not. So, and then further, so what it really makes the Mahayana is a Mahayana, and there's two there's two very essential qualities that marks or that establish the uniqueness of the Mahayana. That is love and compassion. So love and compassion, in general, we seem to kind of know. People talk about love and compassion all the time, right? You will hear the people discuss about it, and seems and appreciate or emphasize the importance of this. And the concept or words of love and kindness has been with us in our daily sort of conversation and all around. But whether really that's the compassion, form of compassion or love, and that we talk about here in the context of Mahayana tradition or not, then we have to study about it. From a Mahayana point of view, and love and compassion is essentially is the foundations of the entire Mahayana teaching. This is because love is merely focused on or aimed to bring the happiness to others, or give the joy to others, make others to be happy and content and joyful. So, and that's the one aspect of the Mahayana, or the foundation of Mahayana teaching. And another aspect of it is the compassion. Compassion here is that you focus on, and you understand that sentient beings are in general experiencing a tremendous suffering. So you aimed to free them from the condition or the pain which they're experiencing. So here in Mahayana, you not just stay at the sort of a prayer level and do this and keep thinking a prayer for it, but you actually examine and you study and you investigate the possibilities of that very love, the quality of love can be, actually can be executed and bring into the actual action or transform that love as your actual action. So, and similarly, the compassion, you want to free others from the suffering, the causes of suffering. So you do analysis, you examine, and you questioning, and through the reasoning, and then you develop the wisdom, and then with that wisdom and reasoning, you know that the compassion as a power and it can be implemented or can be fully developed and then implemented. It can be acting or can become your own actual action. So with the by analysis and examine the qualities of the love and the compassion, and then you know that it is possible, and you know and how to develop it step by step. And you will focus on you will go through this and by the process of through the process of hearing the teachings concerning these two qualities, love and compassion, and you will questioning and its validity or its legitimacy or its possibility, right? And then you contemplating on this, and you free from the doubts and misconceptions regarding the love and kindness. And finally, you reach the point where you feel there's no doubt about it. So no doubt about your what you believed. And then you can bring it into the actual practice and day and evening, so in the meditation. And then that will give you, start with the basic sense of like a love and kindness, feelings of love and kindness, eventually, and you will really genuinely and turn yourself into the entire state of being, and you are in the state of being of love and compassion yourself. So then you will repeatedly, frequently, and over again and again, you will meditate on this very point. So you will focus on the love and compassion, and by single-pointed meditation, meaning that by bring your attention and focus on the love and kindness as the object of your meditative concentration, single-mindedly, through the single-pointedly, through the single-pointed meditation, by focusing on the love and kindness, and then you will tell yourself, you can tell yourself, you will know and how well and how powerful the qualities of love and compassion are. So again, the love and the qualities of the love and compassion is essentially there and is within you. Yeah. But when you have experiencing, have developed the love and kindness as the Mahayana teaching here emphasizes, then you have to examine yourself. So you have to depend upon your understanding of your levels of strength of the practice of love and kindness. Then you have to engage in you have to engage in the teachings concerning this quality or this practice. Go through the hearing process and the thinking or contemplating process, and then you meditate on whatever the point you have learned or you have fully understood. Then, like a food, you can taste it. You will experience the genuine, the actual taste of loving kindness, which is the power of the love and kindness, and or inspired. You will be inspired with it. So the good news is that we all have this, even if you find it, and right now your loving kindness is weak, or you feel that that's not that much inspiring, and it's not that strengthful, and that you don't really feel that the awesome, amazing, the taste of the force of love and kindness is okay, and as a beginner. But the most important thing for us to keep it and in our mind is that we do have this seeds, this remarkable, the marvelous seeds within us. The seed of the compassion, seed of the love is within us. So all we need is to develop it. Okay, just like the Buddha. When we talk about the Buddha, we always feel there's some kind of with some kind of amazement. We feel amazed, right? We feel and so much admiration. We have so much admiration for Buddhas. But remember, and Buddha is become such a remarkable and the most the remarkable the great being is because he had adopted and implemented the very basic practice which we talked about. We are talking about here, that is loving and kindness. So because Buddha implemented and he practiced the loving kindness and went through the entire process of the loving kindness practice. So eventually, and he become such a amazing and highly capable and fully enlightened one. So therefore, we need to, at the very bottom level, we need to admit that or recognize even if our loving kindness and the power of our loving kindness is not that great, but we do have the seeds. So we need to nourish the seeds and make the seed growing.
어때서 다 통다 왔음 가시즈네. 다 통다 왔음도 가시던 가르즈나 전 어만지 번는 사원나요. 강도 지금 로또가 회랑 이야로. 왜나 로또도 당고 같이 사원 때문에 당고 같이 주도 사원 거고요. 그래서 사원 답다나 사원 때라 아니 파트 때라다 쳇당 르당 돌아 소베 때라 땡긴 거 이제 저도 참고를 같이 모르스. 던지 영어로 아니 담아 때라 다 사원 때리 녀가 때리 레베체네 나라도 뭐일 조로데 로또 저만 받자왔더라. 저만 받자왔다. 타마는 가서 뭐일 타마데 뭐일 저만 받더라. 그래서 뭐 내가 또 정화지기나 같이 쇼들 당고 사원 와르도 칠 로지 타마 손저 뭐 농수지였더래. 대 나진 상기기 살아 로르세 발라 냥지 삼냥지 요때 뜻당치 봐요. 그래서 토마라 내가 또 소소지고 담기 jelला लोका छिला सोद जंतु से पर से पाल थोमर जीबी yang ji de ka chen boris ani teni ya chi sa ro kong kong ya thobo thong so ani 바로 드신 바트라 좀 내다 상세비 람라 시공 소 다디 칠로데 아니 야 삼당 장지 소레스 데 바로 드신 바트라 지발 소레스 다른 원벌 좀 상지 송나요 다 고데오만 바로 티 롱초바 섬지 야라 아니 잔두세 버세발라 양장지 쳔보 같이 보레스 또 양지면은 고 랑도 탄좀 살았다 고 지위양라 내데 같이 말어 양지 디장한 거 섬지 주고 바로 또 상제 사바다 바로 좀 그라 장화돼요 양지 또 삼양지 장한지로 심지 탐지 능력이 토르시 티체때는 게 바로 수바 타셔베 인선이 고 삼지 되게 니와디오로 당본인의 샘기 비치나 양지요나 양지 용기 샘때 잔두세 발라 니와요 미 가다즈기나 소소 질라 양지요나 잠바치라 네 강지 타니 베나가도 조금지야지나 양지가 빈순지지나 미치때니 페셔당게 민바르니 쫄라 득자도 쉐용구나 양지요는 지나 고 양지 딱고 질라페 요목이 장한테 지고 능을급에 같이 샤스니 아니 코텔 형지곰지니 그런 게 질라때 그런 거 형지티게 톱기에 파쇼고 니와로도 용탁고요 말 능을 소소도 일로 능을 샘트고 말 샘시디지니 니탁고라 샘냥지티게 톱기 아니 바로 때 말니까 지고나 소소 샘시디 니타한테 신드급에 샘냥지게 파율 베나 전지 전문은 나죠 jan kambachila me jambachila me shoroguna ane mi chame ane kambati me sal thwa thapsi tanga chapchita kambajalla me mashuraji gyud kache buji grawasi o ti nangjina ngadu mi chikta shedang tang control ding zarayonguna lamsa ti control de shel thablum karachi gud cha tang nyamte susorani control motya cha motye ji gyud thab yakshu teresi ta pena pete lang te pete janaje ne su control 기교 막 기교 막 때마도 파쇼도 컨트롤하면서 소소라니 티카라 노비 잡는 컨트롤하면은 안다 매 참아 버 참아들 타마 상마 묘아서 다 타기도 지금 그러지 세드가 지금 찬년 정도의 놀롱조의 안에 빈빈다가 또 제와래 안에 70이 지금 원통일라가 차정안에 셔덩이 좀 로고 그래서 텔라 잡주 지고자 셔덩 세드 미다치 바리 근데 별라 첸델라 수교 파워 지금 아주 나오기나 삼년지 공배나 아니 전부 점치 컨트롤하는 되게 소속 샘트 듣고요. 샘트 맞도 봐줄때라 형지 기용으로 형지나 텔레장 안에 거다 디게 컨트롤해야 당티 탑론 가르치고 텔레 맞추지그라. 어때저다 다 왔습니다. 같이 그래서 다 같이 그래서 뭐 시작좀 못했으면 섬로 당는 아주 종당의 때리시게 때리지 레마리 소속 딱시 당네. 딱시 당는 섬나 니와로 니에종나 텔라 곰지데 영지 섬로 당네 아니서 곰니다. 소소 니와 컨트롤을 맡고 전당아도 어떻게 그래서 야고지데 야고지데 자당네 근데 서서에 가 공천보래지네 렌당 천보래서 상미시고를 때는 설 노천보 도동지 요나 소트라 자천보래서 때 냐잖아 자천보 도동 집어지경 때고 렌당다 하고는 또 간다 배주당 농초에나 티 렌당도 소소라 배주당도 고 때마도 설 도동지고나 도도도도는 니가 chokana jagna te nyama tara ya do de chipar de ma to je ka ke ma te no je 소수 gel라 요비 직sam냥지 당 성취지 선 셰르부터 탑신이 오더랑 지금 배조 당도 배가치 버르데 배조 당에 가르치 버르스나 아주 달리 겔스 파쇼지 다지 쇼지 요마 스조 소수 셈기 요모트 셈데 자레스 요모트 셈데 달리 겟토가 상모당 거레스 어때 때 참에 셈나즈 못하게 조조네 맞춘데 초네 깔리 잠네 지시하게 나오는 뭐 일로 정말때 레스 타바체 먹을 남긴 주고로즈나 문제가네 샴냥지 요트 소레 tamang ngewachi ngewiton sambachi sambiton do gombachi gombiton do sosujela deum bachi yoto kachimore otangi zot shigiyose
So like we read the text and the author says that the loving kindness quality are vital, and it is something that's very critical, was vitally important at the beginning, middle, and at the end of the person's practice or the practitioner's implementation of the loving kindness. Why it is very important at the beginning and the middle and the end. So if we go and find the reason and or try to find a reference from the scripture and go by the introduction and to the middle way or Madhyamika Avatara, and so in the Madhyamika Avatara, it clearly explains that the importance of the practice and the love and kindness, kindness, compassion, and start with your practice with loving kindness. That's the beginning, and then maintain and that very foundations of practice. That's loving kindness and maintain. That's the middle, and then perfect that loving kindness practice, and then continue the qualities of the loving kindness that you have achieved has been spontaneously sort of manifested. But in Madhyamika Avatara, or the introduction to the middle way, it starts saying that the appreciation of its loving kindness quality and its magnificent or excellent quality, power essentially has to be developed by recognize you do have the seeds of it within you. So the analogy being given in Madhyamika Avatara is by saying that compared to the practitioners of Mahayana with the farmer who is farming in the field. So as farmer, and first of all, he or she or they have to secure and make sure that they have the seeds, right? And then after they have the seeds, which is the seed in our context here is of course the basic sense of basic understanding of appreciation for love and kindness is within us. That's our seed. So in the situation or context of a farmer, they will secure the seeds and make sure the seeds is there within them, in their hands. They will begin to planting the seeds, right? And then we'll take the every action and then step by step. For example, that they will plant the seeds in the proper place, and then going to watering them, and then make sure that all the sunlight is sufficiently they can receive the sufficient sunlight, and they will wheat or pull out the whatever the things the plants or grasses around, and to make it to secure, to protect the seeds is growing properly, and then reach the point of develop steam, right? The stem lets the stem arise above the dirt, and then began to produce a bud. And then after had the bud, and again, and to secure continuously nourishing that very plants. Now the seeds become a plant, and then make it blossoming, and then finally and to harvest or to make it the actual result itself. So this is the process of the farmers would do. And for farmer, is from the very beginning and to pick up the seeds or recognize the seeds, and then they are aimed. The mere aim or goal is to for the best harvest, right? To having or receiving the best harvest. So similarly, as a Mahayana practitioner, first of all, we recognize that we do have or endured with, naturally endured with, that this basic sense of love and kindness, compassion is there. So then we practice this, implement this seeds by practice the Buddha Dharma, to make it the seeds of love and kindness from its essential or basic level and into the state of a great perfection, like a Buddha. So yes, so we start with love and kindness, and that motivates us, right? And then when we encounter any obstacles and challenges, situations, and we will continue. We will continue because our goal, our aim is to attain Buddhahood and to be a Buddha himself. And we can't continue. That's because this love and kindness tells us, right? Compassion tells us that it gives us the strength and tells us the reason and to continue and to be to reach the great perfections. So let's say you started to recognize, the basic sense of love, kindness is within you, right? And you wanted to reach it, bring it to the great, the state of great perfection. And you began by implement, put this growing process by the process of the 6 great perfections. Let's say you began with to develop your loving kindness by practice with the first great perfection, that's generosity, and then you practice it. Of course, simultaneously you do practice the moral ethics, right? And then you practice the patience, right? And then you practice a joyful perseverance. And then you also practice meditation, and then you practice wisdom. So you can do this, right? And you can continue begin your practice of a great 6 perfections, transcending perfections. It's because you've been driven, your practice or your motivation, and it's been driven by the love and kindness and compassion. And then finally, you will perfect the 6 great perfections to attain to the Buddhahood. And then upon attaining Buddhahood, you will not sort of maintain in that great state of great perfection, meaning in the state of nirvana, and with the greater in the greater expanses of or the sphere of reality, and to appreciate the greater peace or bliss yourself, but rather you will arise from that the greater state of peace and bliss. You will continue and to do whatever you can to serve others, or to help those who are seeking for the enlightenment or want to free from the sufferings. So this is a great difference here. So, and if you achieve the Buddhahood, and by the practice of start your practice with loving kindness, and through the process of practice of part of the sixth great perfection, and you become Buddha, you will naturally, spontaneously, and act out, or you will respond to all sentient beings suffering naturally and spontaneously. If you are someone who started with the practice without being emphasized the importance of loving kindness, compassion as something that's the very important point of your practice beginning, and maintain it and try to perfect it in the middle or in between, and then to achieve the actual the goal of your practice, then what you do is that you just merely sit or maintain in that great state of peace, nirvana, and the state of sorrow-free and liberation. So you will maintain there. You will not actively or spontaneously respond to or try to take care of others. So nirvana being achieved by those who fail to practice the importance of the loving kindness at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end. And they will not naturally to taking care of or have that motivation ability to fully address others. But those who aimed to attain Buddhahood for the benefits of all sentient beings, by starting the meditation or their practice of loving kindness, compassion, and they would do it. Right? And in fact, their practice will be sustained because their loving and kindness is just so strong and just there. And this is particularly true when people are having trouble and with themselves or with others, right? And or this they've been sort of challenged by the huge obstacles. They will have great patience. They will have greater resilience. That's because loving kindness is their force. Is their guidance, is the source of their inspiration. And this is also true in our daily practice. And those who have the kind of relatively a strong sense of love and kindness, compassion, and then they somehow, you can tell, they are more tolerant and more liberal and more open and minded and then other. And so they would not respond to other people's negative action immediately or very aggressively. And even they experience some kind of pain and frustrations and feels no good about others' treatment or other people's mistreatment. But because they have love and kindness and compassion, so they will maintain the peace and the state of peace. They can maintain themselves in the state of peace is because of the loving kindness and compassion is there. Because of loving kindness and compassion is sustain them, right? Is actively um, sort of helping them to respond to the situation, and so therefore they do not, in the midst of frustration, midst of challenging and mistreatment, they will not experience the pain, right, and suffering. So therefore, they will have the ability to maintain in the calm and peaceful states, and then they can resolve the issue rather easily, or the conflicts easily. And this reminds me about the Bodhisattva's way of life, where Shantideva says, when somebody is angry with you, right? So what you do, the analogy here Shantideva give us is, so when somebody else and we're very mad about you or angry about the things or anything about relates to you about you, and so you should see that person is like a house. The house caught a fire. Now the house is burning. So as a normal person, right? And if you when you see your neighbor's house caught fire, your natural response is that you're going to put off the fire, right? And you will do whatever you can and to extinguish the fire. So similarly, because of the love, kindness, compassion, and that you're practicing, and that's sustaining you, your mental stream, the continuity of your mind. So therefore, when you see somebody is very angry, very mad, just like a house of your neighbor caught a fire, you would naturally will restrain yourself and reframe yourself, and you will show a great compassion to that person, and not to make him or her further angry or become more hateful, but rather you will do whatever you can, show your love and kind compassion, and to put off the fires of the anger of that person. So this is very important, and because of love and kindness, compassion, so you will have a less attachment to your own self, but you have the more rooms or kind of the space within you, sort of care, concern, and of others. Because you are less attached to yourself due to the powers and qualities of love and kindness, then you will not experience, you will not become anger or angry about it. That's quite obvious, and is psychologically is very true. That's our experience, right? Our day-to-day experience. So therefore, this practice of loving kindness is very beneficial for this life alone, right? Because you have love, kindness, compassion, you care of others, you started your daily activity, right? And you try to achieve something, accomplish something, you aimed, right, to benefit others, bring the joy to others, and try to reduce the sufferings of others. So this way, and your friends will appreciate you, your family members will love you and will value you, and will cherish you, and so and wherever you go, and people will welcome, and you will be well received. Why? Because the people just senses that your very mere being, or your presence is aimed to do something and to address their problems and try to bring joy to them. So this is the benefits for practice loving kindness, and at the beginning and middle and in this lifetime. And if you take it furthermore, a step further to connected this practice into the spiritual practice. As a spirituality, your Mahayana, the Dharma practice, we know that by focusing on the loving kindness, compassion, as text says, and started at the beginning with the love, your practice with the loving kindness, compassion, and sustained in the middle, right, and then completed it and perfected it, and to reach its end. So through this way, even though at the beginning you may feel this is just a philosophical or religious, moral, ethical sort of a good talk and a good thought, prayer, wishful, as a very good wish and very good teachings and spiritual guidance. But your own practice, as we discussed, right? You start with it, you maintain it, right, and you perfect it. Finally, you definitely will gain a strong conviction. You will be so convinced, and you will reach that certainty, right? And a certainty of this is a remarkable quality. This is an excellent quality, and this is powerful. So you will experience and this quality yourself, and so. Yes, then you will then start to taste the flavor and the flavors of it at the beginning, right? And then you go through it, and then the process in the middle and the end. You will meditate and again and again, right? And perfect it, and finally, and you will become that person yourself. It's just everything is spontaneous and natural. So anyway, we talk about love, kindness, compassion, and I hope this is, and we understand this, that we cannot make it. We should not make it as a theoretical explanation or some kind of moral, ethical lectures on the ideas, but rather as we must turn into it as our way of life and become our the purpose of our life. Or the activities of the motivations of our activity and our activity itself, and then the goals of our activity. I say this is because we know that loving kindness, compassion is great, and just like we know that a piece of gold, right? You have a piece of gold at home, right? And you know that yeah, everybody knows you cherish it. It's a great goal, a great stuff because it has a great value. But imagine if you take it as a piece of gold, right, and put it somewhere next to the Buddha statue in your shrine, right, or your altar, just keep it there, right, and then never use it. And then it has no any marketing value, right? And it doesn't do anything. It's just there, right? And even though it's precious, but it doesn't bring you any market the values from a marketing point of view. So similarly, we know this loving kindness is very important, right? And we appreciate it. But if we treat the loving kindness, compassion, is a remarkable quality, a spiritual quality, as a piece of gold, right? And always say, oh, that's wonderful, that's great, I love it. But keep it, you do nothing about it, and then it has no any spiritual value in the market of spirituality. In the marketplace of spirituality, you make no profits, and because it doesn't do anything. So you can say that the piece of gold that you don't use it didn't transform into the put in the marketplace and transform it into the products, and that piece of gold, and there's no any difference between that piece of gold and a piece of stone and sort of a remote place, right? What's the difference? When the stone doesn't do anything, and when it's a piece of gold in your shrine or in your altar, both of them, in terms of its functionality or use, its usefulness, and it is the same. So similarly, we must implementing the loving kindness and this great quality and compassion, and then make it work, make it do something for us, and make it to bring it to affect our day-to-day life, our day-to-day life. And so the most sort of direct way we can taste it, right? Direct way we can taste whether we are practicing, practice our loving kindness, this remarkable quality, loving kindness, compassion in our daily life, is that we can see whether our three poisons, right? The three poisons within us is a kind of eliminating, is reducing, or is a kind of keeping weakening, right? So if your attachment is and getting us to the self, right? Self-judgment, attachment is getting weaker, right? Sort of less forceful, and your aversion also and become much weaker and less forceful, and your ignorance also become much weaker and less forceful, and that is the great sign, a great sign of success, and that shows that your practice of loving kindness, compassion, and is working, and you are do something that like towards the Buddha, towards the state of victory, and you are acting and towards the Buddhahood. So you are accumulating the merits, and you are perfecting your practice of compassion. So finally, I like to say this: we are here, right? Get together and sit together and put in the time and make effort. We do have make effort. We are making effort here, right? And we sort of taking something that's hard, but we have to know that we do this is because we are trying to. First of all, understanding the qualities of loving and compassion, and then we're going to eliminate any doubt concerning the qualities of this two remarkable spiritual and practice, and then we're going to complete it. So if you think this way, and it's worth it to make effort, and you should rejoice that and feel great about it, because after all, what you are doing here is very, very meaningful.
Oh yeah, 당시 모두로 가정 엄마들 타바심 고증서 가정 학습 세대 아주 매체디나 내기고난 학습 고고요. 초시 고고를 장군음식 농지 당는 게 야시와 또 초시 세대 때나 초시 때 내기그 되는 거 오래네. 초시 때 말라 잠바도 시진 고고를 또 모두죠. 때 영지 상무 당시. 근데 때랑 안에 상당량지 모두죠. 잠바세나 심지어 대화동다 나서비 상무지리 양지선 심지다 능가 당단이 담나 상무지리. 어떤이 때도 소소절라티 사윈 요래 소소절라티 연드만도 디 니와 톤 그투고 투고만도 어떤 통고 매나티 양지 상무 통이마 돈지 바 섬나 샤라지 샤레오나 디도디 양지 곰지니 데라 동지지니 참저 수수테나 소라요와도 샴다 양지 곰지니 나 곰당 하마고나 카츠메 조이다나 미치기때나 조이다우르다다 곰지나 그 인변 나 통쳐다 지가 요마 전지오마 니쿠아도 지바 니쿠나 나 베데 홍봉아 차성 고접 특요르다 니트고 구소나 나도 단다 곰자나 때를 듣고요 말 섬나단다 잠시와 정정 전진이 소이다 망보이라 등가르데 냥요 리트 전다 좀 지기때 곰게도 지르다 아니 샘드 양네 배송단다 잠시와 정정 삼도들 용고르데 자다 아니 샘드 도고 잡지니 샘나가 샤라지 샤료도 바 마지바지니 자식이 선바지 따다데 뒤촌들이 차도 나도 chalo kang zaman ro chai men de cha an so so rang na ni de sam lo yang zi tang ti chu ti gang tang thoro jes ti tang na chro sem ti la yang ni ti chu te man ro sinang ayo ma holo chen ni cha ta gure ani te ka dang da ba cha re kyang lam te nang zi ken ngam ba de so so la to de ge thwa chi gure cha kha cha jang lu je sung do te cha te to de ge la ta te de ko ko pe chu tang de so so gam jam de te la ti sung ba sung chi su ge la sam yang je chi ge te tam lu de si o teng ni ta te ge le wa yes oh yeah.
Awesome. All right. So let's do a quick summary. We have been talked about the very important practice of Buddhism, and so I introduced, made a comment, and in other words, I introduced the importance of practice of altruism, right? So altruism is you aimed to do something for the benefits of others, right? Importance of pure intention, right? And pure motivation. This essentially is altruism. And then we also talked about, or I introduced to you the for this lifetime and or for the life in general, and the way to be happy and to appreciate life and to feel that life is meaningful, and you have to know how to apply the two essential qualities, that is knowing contentment and satisfied with little. Okay? And knowing contentment and satisfied with less, satisfied with less, and knowing contentment. So these two, by practicing these two, knowing contentment and satisfied with by having less or possessing less, and you will be happy. So and that's the key, sort of, to appreciate and enjoy life in general. But the way how to do it, right? I mentioned we talked about the importance of being mindful, and also apply the mental introspection or awareness. Right, always be aware of it, and remember your right the spiritual instructions that you have learned. Right, always remember that. Remember and reflect upon, think of. Remember the spiritual instruction, and then at the same time, and try to be aware of whether you are remember or not, right? And through the introspecting or investigating that the state of your mind and or state of your mental being, right? And then we talked about today the importance of loving and compassion. And it's a great value, and we began to talk. We also talked about that the way to begin appreciate it, and this loving kindness, the qualities of loving kindness, we have to recognize it. Begin by recognizing the seeds, right, itself as the seed level. That means that we do have this because we do have the basic sense of love and basic sense of compassion. So, but we need to recognize these seeds, and then let this seed taking its great strength or reach its fullness, right? The fullness of its power, and we need to examine, see how powerful and how weak our love and kindness is, compassion is. So if we feel that we know we have the seeds, but it's not been forceful enough, or haven't yet really transformed and or developed to the level where we are always inspired and forced by love and kindness, then we do need to work on and to develop this seeds from its essential sort of fundamental level, right, elementary level, and to all the way to let it become very forceful, very powerful. So the way to doing this is that first of all we have to understand the meaning of love and compassion. We have to understand fully to see the values of love and the compassion, and we must take it, bring that into our mind, and reflect the meaning and the value of the love and compassion in our mind repeatedly. Let it sort of reflect or arise, right? And let the sort of born into our mind over, and so as it sort of become vivid and become animating, right, and acting and activating and the love and kindness in our mind and all the time. And so in this way, and you will have not just through this practice and your understanding of your experience of love and compassion will not just a theory or a kind of appreciation, and that is a kind of a very important moral ethical teaching, but rather now it will become your own feeling, it will become your inspiration, and become something that inspires and inspires you and transforms you. So, and once you reach that the states of appreciation and the qualities of it, and then you must contemplating, right, and your appreciation and more, and make it to stabilize your appreciation. And by stabilizing your appreciation, and then you need to sort of transcend and your understanding of loving compassion and into its it's a natural state, right? So this to transcend your understanding or your appreciation and of love and compassion, and from this sort of a sensational or sense sort of from sense level into the transcendent state of being, and you do need a meditation, right? Meaning that you have to meditate over all the time. So meditation is essential, but I must emphasize and tell you that when we talk about meditation, we have to know meditation doesn't mean to close your eyes and sit properly and organize your legs and your body and in the perfect sort of posture, but not just that as you close your eyes and you look like someone else there. It's not. Meditation doesn't mean that, because we know that lots of time we sit ourselves on a meditation cushion, and everything is in place, and we look like doing something awesome, right? And doing something great. But in fact, internally, if you examine the state of your mind, and you will find instead of you are really meditating and try to do something like sagely or saintly, and so the way you sit doesn't match the how you thinking internally in your mind, and a lot of time, in fact, instead of meditate on, let's say in this case, love and compassion, and you will see that you are actually meditate on lots of awful and negative, very bad things. You're not meditating on love, kindness, compassion at all, but rather you are meditating, or meaning you are reflecting, you are thinking, and you are sort of busy with all kinds of very negative things. So this means that in your when you practice meditation and loving kindness, you must be aware of and how this meditation is about mind training. You have to understand that it has to be with um, uh, something that's the trainings of the internal, and it's not you sit in the posture of your meditation, that's your body sort of meditating, but your mind is elsewhere, right? Or doing something completely different, even awful. So I personally, and you probably do the same, I personally find that there are times when I try to meditate on the love and compassion, in fact, I end up, or I realize that I'm completely doing something else. It's not doing anything relates to meditation of compassion and kindness at all. So just beware of it. Okay, be careful with that and be mindful. And then this is particularly true, and in nowadays today in our the moments in the world today, we all have to dealing with this great challenge and being created by the pandemic, right? COVID-19 pandemic. So we are in a very strange and challenging and confusing time. So, however, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, and if we do practice the Buddha Dharma and that we can transform in this challenge, this challenging and negative the condition into the actual spiritual practice to enhance our spiritual ability, spiritual and realization. Indeed, in Buddhism, there is a particular teaching. We talk about how to transform the negative conditions and as a favorable, turn it into a favorable or a positive, supportive conditions for the Dharma practice, right? And we are in a way it's very unfortunate, right? And it's terrible to experiencing and such a worldwide suffering and due to this virus. But at the same time, for Dharma practitioners like us, if we do know how to transform it, how to take it, or use this negative the obstacle, and then we can make it as a friend. Okay, use it as something positive and to support our practice of loving and kindness, to increasing our love and compassion. So that's my hope, and I wish that we can be very successful to take the opportunities and take the advantages from this the pandemic, the challenges of the pandemic.
Oh yeah. That's all.
Yeah. So that's all for today, and thank you for your attention. And now we do the dedication.
Lo me ma re ge don ro nan de ya ve mo bo da yer de ma so ve ce ro gan de ja me yang ye ze ve je long de da be ren ba gen je ne de be ya no ye shi rang ge je to be lang je xu zhang zi wei zhang wei tang wei rou wei ye jie men ba sa xi ya wei tang ba ye rong zhen zhi当把人称作给马球，将娘们儿为手的，娘子全部要肉煮吧。安的萨尔是不是？谁知亚维马上成为老州上秋浪的人被他都能也有老儿子，亚维在巴让的中间，浪上这边等见着西。给见谁是么当么才肉跟的亚维我巴伊，难道这味儿嘛儿？刚才他把手拿着就自然人那总把第一的难接到的主席。这些样做说跟家人就，二等三位拉马人不接到说你个人没当时拉个真全部不接送有方推荐跟着他就说。看见一月之间中国网络上特别想把说话的成就成就人不今晚接完的姐姐这个接完年把没不然国内公的被我说同志这位国语的上司是反正因为呢政治上对这样做一些被身体玩的等级的经这过后这的讲把当跟的中的样的人的到根据就是当做是给我的就是么说别要啊他们这以后啊刚到初等我把的到人给月早啊要从就是了等我日记盘点中的蛋白的上的但是给我他们这跟上的这跟老的金中到的一直这才来跟的要啊中国为同做新年的是在别的因为看别了上的可这这样都不是嘛就是这他话是当然们怎么也得做的那的用光上到的是这社会身体个的的上边就为这些说我们老百就为当把了会呢真是当什么上就俺们就把嘛的话身体别这里家就是这个你们的老陈的了你们公安的老先生这到的的观众生意这些说甚至哪怕是你把你的那里他就进入也那嘛的话他的生活没不是说